Hi, Buff. Go, go, go.
Oh, I didn't see you there. What you got?
Okay, so for this installment of Ask Shearwater, we got a bunch of questions. I'll start with a fun one.
All right.
This is from John McLeod on Blue Sky. Yeah. He says, what's something you've said to someone that you were convinced was going to be funny only for it to fall instantly flat?
Oh my God. That's a great question. Instantly flat. I feel like that's most of the time. You know, it's funny. Like you see this with kids, like where they realize that they can be funny, where they can make jokes and can make adults laugh, can make other people laugh, and it's such a realization. And some people just like twig to it really fast and can just do it and are funny. And then I feel like I've struggled to be funny my whole life almost. And like I remember some moments on stage where, I'm sorry, John, I'm evading your question because I don't have a good answer to it, but I'm trying to give you an answer to a related question that would be good. I remember a show in Glasgow where there was a pillar on the stage that if you it was easy to miss, especially if you were standing in front of it and singing or doing something on the front of the stage. And there's a note on the, I feel like it was on the ceiling or somewhere or maybe on the floor, where you could see where it said, "Look behind you," like, you know, reminding you that this thing was there. And I was like, "Look behind you," and I just like walked right into it, and it was a moment of, and it got such a laugh that I was like, that was like my Buster Keaton moment of physical comedy. Like it was so perfectly timed.
It's very funny.
I didn't even explain that right. See, I didn't even do the joke.
There it is.
It's all right.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, that's as good as you get, John. I'm sorry.
Okay, some questions about the new album, Maybe in Tour?
Yeah, well, we're working on it basically now. The studio's just over there, and we've been working in it for the last 2 weeks, and I feel like it's shaping up really well. Well, I said, come on.
It is.
Kidding? It is, though. Like, we've been going at it sort of we'll do a session, and then like 6 months later, there'll be another session, and 6 months later, there'll be another session. And it's starting to feel like a thing, and a really kind of big, not sprawling thing exactly, it's just a lot of songs, and they're all pretty interesting. And you want to help, Bobo? And kind of beautiful, and they have, I always worry that a record isn't going to be different enough from the previous one, but then they always do end up that way, kind of automatically. And I love the process of going into the record, really working hard for a couple of weeks, then stepping away and not listening to it or interacting with it at all, and then coming back and working on it some more. So, new album. I think, to the degree that my crystal ball can work, it'll probably come out this year. I mean, sorry, not this year. Probably come out next year.
I'm like, wow.
And yeah, it'd be impressive. We got 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
So not much time to do the cover design. But that's what I really hope, and I really want to do some live shows. I'm just absolutely dying to do it. It's been way too long, so I'm really hoping that after this one comes out that we'll be able to do that in some fashion, even if it's limited. I sort of don't care. I just want to do some shows and play music with my friends before the next pandemic.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I do too. I would like to also play shows.
I also would.
I also would like to play shows. So yeah, the album questions were from Lucas P. Marangoni and KD on Blue Sky.
Okay.
And then I guess you answered tour questions. Hawk22769 and Quiet Lightsea also, they asked about touring. So
okay, yeah, that's the touring. Yes, want to. Yes, very much want to. Yes, really want to. But it's
No.
but it's hard to. You know, the main thing that's difficult about it is that you have to get everybody together and rehearse.
Yeah.
And it's not that you don't like rehearsing. It's just that everybody lives in different places. You got to assemble them somewhere, and essentially it's expensive, and you have to spend a bunch of money to do that before you can even play a show. So it's a question of trying to figure that part out. But, you know, it's now been like 2018 since I did a show, and it's just killing me.
I know. Yeah,
So yes, touring, yes.
Manic Zen on Instagram wants to know the status of the Talk Talk tribute concert.
Ooh, good question. That seems to still be moving forward. I think summer 2026 is the idea right now. I've gotten some people interested who played on the original albums who are very significant players on those records. And everybody I talked to about this seems really excited about it, including some promoter type people I met recently. So that's an active project for sure.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Oh, that's going to be super fun.
Yeah. Okay, some questions about the back catalog.
Back catalog.
Yeah.
Love back catalog.
We have a ton. Jag Callis David on Instagram always wondered why Elton John is listed as composer for Whipping Boy.
What?
I don't know.
Elton John?
That's what he said.
First I've heard of it.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question. Solipsa on Instagram, what are your favorites from your own catalog?
My favorite record's always just the one I'm working on at the moment, and I think that's kind of how it's supposed to be. Because by the time you're done with a record, you just know way too much about it. You've been living in the same room for years, it feels like. And you just want to be free of each other. Well, I don't know what the album wants, I guess. But with that said, I do really like the last one, The Great Awakening. Felt like we got to places we've never quite gotten to before. And a lot of the jet plane stuff I really like. But I also really like Fellow Travelers. That was fun because it was fun to get, you know, some of the artists who were covering to play on other people's songs on that. It was just a silly project, but I really got into it. And then, of course, the old stuff. It's funny, like I have trouble identifying with that singer. Like I don't feel like I sing quite like that anymore, and so it's like a sort of uncanny valley thing to hear that. And I always hear things I could have done better, or that I think I could do better now. But
I love all that stuff. So.
Well, I don't know. It's like, how do you feel about your high school picture? You're like, oh God.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I think I listened to the Golden Archipelago again recently and was surprised at how much I liked a lot of that record. I thought that one was kind of a flop because it didn't sell as well and people didn't seem as interested in it. But I think it's sort of not like anything else exactly, that record. And I was surprised at how much I liked it listening back.
Let's see. Kelly Hingley. What's the most surprising thing you've been inspired or influenced by?
Surprising thing I've been inspired or influenced by?
I don't know if surprising to you or surprising to them.
I don't know what's going to surprise someone else. Well, I'll tell you one thing, and this is probably pretty obvious actually, or it might be if you know about this, but growing up, I'm not a church-going person anymore, but I grew up going to church with my parents and stuff every... Hey, Ghost.
Ghost?
What do they see?
I don't know.
Some deer or something?
There they go.
It's a black vulture.
They see those every day, though.
Right. Yeah, but I think it's close. They get confused about the sky, I think. Like they think if they just run real fast, they can catch it. There they go.
Wow.
Anyway, what was the question?
Church going.
Church going. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I used to go to church with my folks, and we would sing in the choir together. The adult choir, which always pleased me because I was a kid and I was in the adult choir. I didn't realize that just kind of made me a weirdo. But I loved those people. It was nice to have friends of different ages. And so, long story short, you know, all these Anglican hymns and Renaissance music and stuff, that was just the musical vocabulary of that stuff, the melodic vocabulary especially, I think just got sort of baked in. So that was a big one. And I can hear that if I'm just making up a melody, often it has qualities of one of the hymns, you know, out of the 1982 hymnal.
I can hear that.
But
you also sing them just at random.
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
I can just they're all in there. But the other thing actually is pictures at an exhibition, the Mussorgsky piece, the Ravel orchestration of it. I listened to that when I was a kid over and over and over, and it's just so. That one's also super baked in as far as musical.
Cool.
It's dynamics and drama and. I mean, I'll never write anything remotely as good as that, but it's like it's just one beautiful melody after another, and it's so texturally interesting, and it's got so much personality. That's sort of my idea of. I think I've got a very primal programming for like that's what music is, kind of that piece.
That makes sense. I like that piece.
It's also super proggy.
That piece?
What?
That pictures?
Yeah. That first figure is like an 11. The dun 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 dun.
I never even thought about how strange.
Yeah, it's got weird meter all over the place.
Interesting. Okay, Frederick Botari. Your musical style is unique. How would you describe this genre?
I don't know. It's unique.
You can pass. You can take a pass.
I mean, but you always get asked this question. I mean, like, you know, algorithms and ask you like what genre you are, and they want to know like what kind of music do you play. That's the question. If somebody meets someone and they don't know you and they don't know anything about you, and you tell them you're a musician, they're like, "What kind of music do you play?" And you're like,
"The worst,
best fucking band in the world, music." You know I don't know. Usually, what I tell them is that it's indie rock, which doesn't really mean anything, but it seems to often placate them because they have some idea of what that is. And then I say it's really pretty, but it's also got loud stuff in it, and I like combining things that are really beautiful with stuff that's really ugly.
I like that.
And they kind of, when you land on the word ugly, you can feel them retreat a few inches, but that's...
Anyone who doesn't like ugly is not the kind of person you want to... No, it's not true.
Yeah, if you don't like ugly stuff, then go find another band, please.
I love ugly stuff, yeah. David Giles writes, are the lyrics to Detritus War referencing other songs such as Safety Dance and Cotton Eye Joe?
They are. Next question.
Absolute YYZ. Who needs to calm down in I've Got a Right to Cry? Also, what kind of keyboard is that?
Oh, wow, okay. Old song. I stole the title from the title of a song by Mandy Barnett, who was this country singer who I was a camera intern at a camera rental house in Nashville, Tennessee, because that was as close as I could get to like the movie making industry in college. I just ended up following second ACs around at sort of weird Nashville-related music videos and stuff.
That's so funny.
And they did like they're doing a feature on Mandy Barnett, so she had a song called "I've Got a Right to Cry," so I used that as the title.
Cool.
And then Will thought it would be really funny to put part of it in parentheses. Like, I can't remember which part's in parentheses.
It doesn't
Is
say
it the
here.
"I've Got a Right to" part? But then the title would just be
Cry.
I don't know.
I like if it's I've got parentheses a right to cry.
No, that was what it was.
Oh.
I've got a.
I've got it.
Hey, I've got a right to cry.
Nice.
Will you calm down, sir? I think that was like, that song is like from the perspective of somebody who's in a hospital. We had a lot of songs about that back in those days. Will really likes people in hospitals, I guess. And so it's sort of like the person is kind of having kind of an out-of-body experience a bit, you know, and kind of like freaking out. Like if you're ever, I remember getting my wisdom teeth out, and I could hear somebody yelling and hear the dentist saying, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay." But then I was kind of freaked out that someone was yelling, but then I realized it was me yelling.
That's terrifying.
But I wasn't actually in pain. I think I was just disoriented and like trying to make... anyway, it all worked out.
We Are the Great Work says, do you remember how you wrote the lyrics to Only Child? That one sticks with me daily.
Oh, Only Child. I like that song. We've never... What? We never played it as a full band or arrangement. I think
we played it twice, just you and me.
What? Oh yeah, we played it a couple times, but it never. I think we sort of ran out of time because we were trying to get all of those songs together, and that one just wasn't coming together as quickly. Anyway, but that's not what you asked. You asked about the lyrics. I was thinking about a friend of mine specifically. But then also more generally about the pressures of being an only child, which I'm not. But
I am.
But yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I mean and how what it's like for people who's, and this doesn't just happen to only children, but I think it's especially acute for them, where parents often kind of really try to load them up with their dreams, and it's quite a weight to bear because you got to carry that and your own dreams at the same time. And
the trick is figuring out when to let go of your parents' dreams.
Yeah, exactly. And usually I think it's when they die, but if you can do it before they die, you're gonna have a nicer time there too. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Next question.
Ellie Hallows Eve says, in my brain, I'm so glad sounds a lot like running up that hill. Was there intent or am I nuts?
You're nuts. No, I was thinking of like Alicia Keys when I was writing that song.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll pose a non sequitur.
Yeah.
Melissa from Discord. Our boss.
Melissa?
How's everyone's pets?
Pets. Well, you saw Ghost or you might have seen Ghost and Bobo already. They're running around, the dogs, out here at the studio. Noodle the cat still hanging in at what appears to be 75 years old.
On some days.
Yeah, on some days she looks like old as the hills, and some days she's like, middle-aged. I've got some pets at home in Europe. A couple cats are doing great. Emily, how are your animals?
They're good. Yeah. They're still existing on different planes at the same time. But yeah, Cookie, the dog, and Milo, the cat, are sharing the same space. Hey, Bubba.
Bobo.
Hi, Bubba. She's like, are you talking about pets? I'm a pet. Okay, back to the questions that you love here.
Yeah.
About music writing. This
Yeah.
is the last category. Jamie F. Torres. How much influence has biology had on Shearwater?
If you're asking sort of the question of like how do the birds impact your music or that sort of thing, or biology more generally, which I think would be better. Clearly a lot. I mean, I love thinking about why the world is the way it is and how much and how little we know about it. And I don't ever sit down to write a biology song. And if you want to know about non-musical stuff that I think about constantly, that I have a book that took like 25 years to write, and I'm working on another one now. And I think working on multiple different kinds of projects on the one hand, they feed each other because they're different, but you also realize that sort of all artistic projects are kind of the same. There's like this wool gathering phase, and then you have a bunch of stuff, you don't know what it is, and you edit, and you figure out what you're actually trying to do, and then it comes in and out of focus for a while, and you work real hard for a long time, and you get really tired of it, and then one day it suddenly unexpectedly ends.
It's like this pile.
Right, yes. I mean, one of the things we really love to do out here at the ranch is clear brush, and there's an unlimited amount of it, and you can just do it to your heart's content, and feel like you're reducing the fire danger by a tiny percentage, and you know, it's like an enormous head that you're trying to give a haircut to, and you're never going to be able to.
But
Give the full
it's
haircut.
like the same as making a record. It like mirrors it really well.
Oh
somehow.
yes, exactly. You just keep working on this thing. It's huge and impossible, and like, you know, eventually one day it does. Little by little it gets better, and one day it's suddenly done.
Blunderphonic asks, what's your approach to writing album openers? Quite a few Shearwater albums have a soft to high, huge start. Soft to huge start.
Well, I think you shouldn't waste an opportunity with an opening. You know, the very first thing that it's a very important moment in the record, because you're sort of setting. I mean, I still imagine that somebody's actually listening to the whole record from start to finish. I doubt that happens very much, but I can't get away from thinking of it that way. And I like to. Well, I think about like the opening shot of a movie or something like that. Like, you want to set expectations in a certain way, that you know, that you want to let people know what's going to happen. Like, you sort of introduce the cat. You can either introduce the full cast of characters, like this is what all the sounds are going to be. I mean, like Animal Joy, I guess, kind of does that, where it's like, okay, here's sort of like a big rock number.
And setting expectations that like anything could happen on this
Yeah,
record.
well, that's the other thing. Like, what's the palette? What's the range? If you like have a bunch of weird sounds, or like, you know, suddenly a giant thing comes in a quiet song, and then you're like, here's we're going to be going to a place where anything is possible, where all these things are possible. But sometimes it's fun to have, like, I mean, like on the second Loma record, it opens with this little tiny song,
Yeah.
and it gets you in listening very, very closely and intently, which I think is also a nice thing to do. I mean, you don't, as Mark Hollis said, you don't need the first track to come out and attack you. It's more like an invitation, or it's another way to do it. You can do it to sort of draw somebody in really, really close, and then the second song you can hit pretty hard, and you know, or pull back make it very widescreen, and then it's like, whoa. And in terms of just volume levels, like I tend to like to set the volume level of at least the opening of the first song kind of quiet, so that you kind of turn it up a little bit. I'm revealing the trick here. So you turn it up a little bit, and then, you know, as the rest of the record opens, it just kind of gets bigger and bigger.
Chase Schaefer, who does lovely videos on Instagram. How do you start a song or form an idea into a song?
God knows. And you just start somewhere. A friend of mine said something that his father used to say to him, that if you don't know where to start anywhere. So just start with just in this session here, we haven't been like writing a bunch of songs in this session, but you just begin somewhere. We had a funny experience 2 days ago where we had a song that we'd been working on for a while, and we just didn't like it, and we just started kind of demolishing it, taking out big chunks of it, and foundational stuff, and then seeing what was left, and we finally ended up with something that was interesting again. And like, it had an A part and a B part. I took out the B part because it was just sort of dopey, and so then it felt like you were taking out almost everything that made it a song, and but all of a sudden, then we ended up with something that was really cool to us at that time, at that moment, which time will tell.
Yesterday it still sounded cool.
It sounded good the next day. That's the thing. Also, sometimes, like, it's fun to work with the energies at different times of day. Like, in the morning, you're kind of like, get up and go, and then by the evening, if you've been at it for a while, you get kind of loopy and you make really funny moves and sometimes wander around and I'll feel like, can I even play the guitar? I don't even know what I'm doing. But then you can sometimes make neat decisions that way. I think Richard James, the Aphex Twin, used to, or still does a thing sometimes where he would actually literally try to fall asleep while he was sitting at the keyboard.
Wow.
Or at his computer, and then wake up, he said because the decisions that he made in that state were very unusual. I've gotten there by accident, but never on purpose.
This is the last, it's a pairing of questions.
Okay.
This one's they're both from AJ Payton. One's for both of us.
Okay.
Any gear you're currently coveting?
I'm trying to get rid of some gear.
I know.
Well, when I moved overseas, I had to leave my piano here, and I really love that piano. So I'm coveting it, even though I still have it, I guess.
You still have it, yeah. We've used it a lot.
A nice piano, that'd be amazing. Not really. More like if I could trade a nice microphone for a really good song, I'd do it in a minute.
That's better than there's an Instagrammer that makes these cassette tapes but he alters them so that you can record directly onto them and then vary the speed as it's happening. And I kind of want one of those.
Yeah, that's
that's what I'm coveting at the moment. I know.
Like the stuff that anytime we make a sound like that, it always makes us laugh for some reason. There's something in that just triggers the laugh reflex.
Very funny. Okay, last question. From the same person. What piece of gear do you want to work into a Shearwater record?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'd really like some more, it's not a piece of gear, I suppose it is in a way, some more wind instruments into the next one, like bass clarinet and bari sax, flute, stuff like that, cutting edge stuff.
But nice real sounds,
nice,
warm,
sounds
round
played
sounds.
well by soulful musicians. There's just nothing better than that.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, gear. If I was gonna just pick.
That is gear, but okay, yeah.
I would love to use some M49 microphones and make a record mostly just with them. Which is orchestral mics made by Neumann in the old days, and they make them again now, new, but they're just crazy expensive.
Why do you want to use them?
They just have such a beautiful, open, real sound. They don't seem to emphasize anything in particular, and yet everything recorded through them sounds really interesting for some reason.
Huh.
Kind of Blue is recorded almost entirely with M49s.
Beautiful.
The Mark Hollis solo record was made just with a pair of them, but they never moved.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have a very real. Oh, whoa! We got a big kettle of vultures here. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh yeah, there's so many of them.
20, 21, 22 vultures.
22 vultures?
At least, yeah. And mostly black vultures.
Huh.
One of them's an airplane. Never mind. Okay, 21. Looking for the caracara. We saw it yesterday. Or no, 3 days ago.
Yeah, a few days ago.
Bobo is the dog. Is just staring at these vultures. They're all just swirling around above.
I wonder why.
He's yelling at him. He just thinks he can
get them.
Come down here. Those are all the ones I see right here, black vultures.
They're all black vultures.
Yeah.
Cool.
Something's dead.
Yeah. But right here.
Something's dead right here.
Is it us? No.
No, I don't think they're drawn to us.
No.
Black vultures just, they're so kind of gang oriented. They hang out with their friends, they see where their friends are going, what their friends are eating, and every once in a while I think they get into a sort of a chain where they're just following each other because they're following each other.
Yeah.
But
I just have never seen that many
They
here.
eat well out here. Then there's little specks out there. I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
At least, there's like at least 30 over there.
Wow.
So there's probably a thermal right here is the deal.
Yeah.
Because they're probably just trying to get altitude this time of the day.
Well,
Here we go. Here comes.
Are they coming in?
Oh man, they're so nice. They
Okay,
got these little
I'll
white
zoom over
blazes on the wingtips, kind of.
See, I don't think I can see them on my
They're
camera.
so smart. One of the things I love about Central Texas is that you get black vultures, ravens, and crested caracaras all here together, and they're sort of like 3 models of the same animal. You know, they're like these sort of clever. They even kind of look alike, but they've all have come from different lineages, and they're all smart and social, and they like to eat dead stuff by the side of the road.
It is. It's a real
What were
special
we talking
place.
about?
I think that's it for the questions, actually.
Oh, great. Well, thanks everybody for sending the questions. I always wonder if we're going to get any responses at all, so it's really nice to hear from you.
And hopefully we can do this again, maybe.
Yeah, we'll do this again down the road before too long.
Yeah. It's just nice to interact.
Maybe in a month or so. Yeah, we're still alive. We're still doing stuff. We're still the same. It just it's been a wild ride lately for everybody.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to keep doing this until they stop us. And so far, that hasn't happened yet.
And I don't know who they are.
No, I don't know who they are either. I'm looking out for them.
All right, bye.